Hey guys, I hope you are doing well and your swimming is going great. I did it. I met my pinky promise 2 weeks in a row, 2 shows in a row. I will try to keep this going. We got a great show for you today. We are going to talk about what kind of lifting swimmers should be doing, and that is huge, very important part of your training. But before we do that, a little bit of housekeeping. Where am I at besides my house? Dad joke. 2 weeks into a 5-week taper. I got 3 weeks to go until futures. Feeling about like you would expect in the middle of a taper, which is better than the grind, but not great. And I've always hated that about taper. It's like, why can't it just be that you start taper and just day by day you feel better and better? Now, if you've wondered that too, here's the quick and simple explanation. Your body's like a machine. It gets programmed every day to do really hard work, the grind. And then suddenly one day it's like, all right, taper time to rest, let's go. And your body goes, wait, what is this rest you speak of? And so it takes time to acclimate to that new process, that new world order, right? And one day you could be feeling like you're ready to break a world record, and the next day you feel like you're not even a swimmer anymore. It's just how it goes, okay? Don't get too much in your head about it. I am weighing in at 202, still a pound or two off of where my ideal probably is, but that's okay, not a big deal. So without further ado, we got to get into it because we got a lot of good stuff to talk about. While the music plays, please give me a like and subscribe. It really does mean a lot to me. It warms my heart. It keeps me going. Let's go. Okay, I'm back. Stepped out for a quick Coach Kim practice while the music played, just a quick little jaunt. I did forget, hey, we've got some cool new suits at fikeswim.com. Go check them out. But I want to let's start with who should be lifting, when you should start lifting, okay? If you'd asked me a year ago, should high schoolers lift? I would have said absolutely not. Because when you go to a college coach, part of your pitch needs to be, look, I got potential. I may not be a tremendous talent right now, but you put me in the weight room and I have the potential to be a tremendous talent. Those days are gone. Coaches aren't recruiting potential anymore, at least not in the top 50. With the House versus NCAA and the roster limits that have been put in place over the last year, those days are gone. The coaches need swimmers who can score points at conference on day one and have the potential to keep on getting better. And so you've got to do whatever it takes to put yourself in that position to get your foot in the door and then earn it. When you compare the situation now to when I was recruited, I think I came in with 10, it was 10 of us at Texas, 10. That's huge. And all of us practically were potential recruits, people with the potential to be really good. There were maybe 2 guys who could score at Big 12 conference on day one, and none of us could score at NCAAs on day one. You compare that to now, Bob Bowman flat out said, I am not recruiting potential, I'm recruiting point scorers. And what he really means is guys who can score at SECs on day one, and by the end of their freshman year, they're scoring at NCAAs. And you're talking 3 to 5 spots at SEC schools, 3 to 5, that is crazy. I feel so bad for the recruits today, including my son. He's a rising senior, and he's not looking at Texas, but he is looking at a lot of top schools. And if he can drop just 1 to 2 seconds in his 100 fly, that's his primary, he opens the door to a lot of places. And so to get him there, we've switched teams. We moved to Texas Fort Aquatics with Coley Stickles. And if you know that name, if you think I'm a 180 from traditional swimming, this guy's the definition of 180 from traditional swimming. And we need to have him on the show here because that would be fascinating. The guy is so far outside the box and creative. It's great. But they do lifting. And so I'm hoping that that's really going to get him, my son, where he needs to be. So more on that, stay tuned. Now, when you should start lifting, sophomore year, junior year at the latest. And when you do it, it needs to be functional. That is what we're talking about today. I'm going to take you through my 3 phases or eras, as the Swifties would say. And I'm going to try and make this, we could spend hours going through this. I'm going to try and cut this down to like a couple of minutes. If you're here for the action videos in the weight room, skip ahead a couple minutes, you'll get there. But I think this is worthwhile. You know, a lot of people ask the question, like, what kind of lifting do I do? I don't really know anything about the weight room. How do I know if an exercise is right for me? Always start with this foundation, this foundational question. Is what you're doing stimulating your muscles in a new way? That right there is the foundation for improving in any sport. Your muscles have to be stimulated in new ways on a regular basis, or you don't get better. You know, imagine if you go into the weight room and you just do squats every single day. Yeah, you'll get good at squats, but it's not going to stimulate your muscles in a new way and make you better in the water. In my first era in college, that's when I started to lift. And I continued for many years after with the same program, which was, it was very basic, periodization. We did 8 lifts and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday in college. That was it. It never changed. Squat, bench press, dip, lat pull down, leg extensions, leg curls, biceps, and triceps. The only thing that changed was the sets and the reps, and it was basic periodization. And that was standard at the time. We now know a lot more, and I think you'd be hard pressed to find a top college program that does the same movements 3 days a week. But I continued doing that for years afterwards. And as I got more and more fed up with going slow, my focus in the gym really waned. I mean, I would have days where I was in and out in like less than 30 minutes. I hit the big ones, you know, squat and bench press and lat pull downs. I remember doing a set of regularly, like I would go over to the dumbbells, do a set of 8 bicep curls. That was it. Cap on my practice, go home. And then 7 years ago, when I said, all right, put up or shut up, I gotta change everything. I stuck with a lot of the basic exercises that I was doing in college, with some minor changes. Like I couldn't squat anymore because my knees were not good. And so I subbed in deadlifts. But it was basic periodization. First week, 3 sets of 12. Second week, 3 sets of 10. Third week, 4 sets of 8. And then a deload week. Deload is basically lift language for recovery. You back off 4 sets of 3. You back off on the weight, the intensity, you back off on some of the movements that you do. And then the next cycle would be 3 weeks of 5 sets of 5. Deload week, a couple weeks of max lifting, deload week, rinse and repeat. And that worked really well. You might be like, well, how did going back to basic lifting or sticking with basic lifting help you? Remember what I said about stimulating your muscles. There was a period of a few years there where I was just not fully present and really pushing it at all in the weight room. And when I did buckle down and focus, I mean, I brought a super high intensity. I never cut corners, and all of that was new stimulus. And it worked great for 4 years. I mean, I dropped a second in my 50 breast, over a second in my 100 breast, 4 seconds in my 200 breast. And then I started working, so this is the second phase, the second era. I started working with my strength coach, Kevin. If you don't know Kevin, go back, just go back a year in my videos and look for a day in the life, and you'll see my workouts with Kevin. And that was like somebody turned the lights on in the room. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can see. Because I didn't know squat, it turned, no pun intended. I didn't know jack, about lifting. And so he exposed me to a whole different range of movements. I didn't know like how many movements you could do just for the triceps. Different movements that, you're just working the triceps, but you're stimulating them in different ways. And most of our reps were like 3 to 7. And we might do 8 sets of 4 squats and 5 sets of 7 triceps. And it was never predictable. There was no periodization, but the focus was on the intensity and the power. Oh, speaking of which, I got a power sensor that you can put on the bar, on the weight, and on your body for like jumping and stuff. We'll do an episode on that too. Side tangent. Here we go. Back on it. And so like my mind was just opened to a whole new world. And so I learned that it wasn't just about how much weight you're moving, it's about how fast you're moving the weight. Yeah, sometimes it's okay to grind, but you don't want to do that every single day. Sometimes you really need to move the weight fast. That second phase went really well. I dropped a second in the 100 breast, a second and a half in the 200 breast, because again, new stimulus. But after about 2 years, it was starting to wane. And so in the last year, but really, especially this last few months of the long course season, I've gone off on my own. I don't really work with Kevin much anymore. I drop in to see him because he's a wealth of knowledge. He's great. I still want to keep learning from him, but he doesn't know swimming. And I cherry pick what I hear from my peers, my competitors, who are with guys like Coley Stickles and college coaches and college strength coaches who are up to date on the latest and greatest. And so I cherry pick from all these sources to come up with what I do now. And I really like the stuff that I'm doing now. We'll see if it actually translates to best times. But one of the benefits of it is that it's practically all new. And that, from a mental standpoint, is really important because it's hard to keep doing the same stuff year after year, especially when it's not working. And so, where am I at right now? Well, I'm back to full body movements. I was doing upper, lower with Kevin. So upper one day, lower the next, upper, lower. And that has the benefit of being able to work that half of the body more. You cover more ground, more exercises, better fatigue management in trying to get in all those movements for upper and lower by splitting it up. But when you go full body, that's a little bit more representative of our sport. Our sport is full body. And so I've been doing that, unilateral work, so single leg, single arm stuff, supersetting. If you don't know what supersetting is, it's taking multiple movements and putting them into one set. So instead of 5 sets of 5 deadlift and then moving on to 5 sets of 3 box jump, you would do 5 deadlifts, go right into 3 box jumps, 5 sets of that. That is more representative of our sport, I think. And the other benefit of supersetting is that there are time savings. If you're a master swimmer, you've got an hour to spare-ish, and you need to get both in, the lift and the swim. You can get a pretty solid workout in 30 minutes in the gym, and then you still have time to get 20-ish minutes in the pool. So it's a time saver. But it also has, like I said, the real benefit, I think, of supersetting is more application to what we do. So let's take a look at some of the stuff that I've been doing, okay? Now, this first one is one of my favorites. It is a superset of hang cleans and box jump. With hang cleans, you're priming the system, and then you're letting loose all that explosive power onto the box. You get to jump, you get to throw stuff around. It's a lot of fun. Just know that with hang cleans, it's a very technical movement, but it is so good for swimmers because it involves so much coordination among multiple body parts. You've got the hips, the knees, the ankles, the shoulders are shrugging. It's really applicable. Now, this next one is also a lot of fun. It is a superset of single arm landmine press with a band and med ball slams. And you have a couple of things going for you here. One, you've got unilateral work. You also have to resist the temptation to twist whenever you're doing unilateral work. And so you have to work on that stabilization. You have a good speed and strength and speed contrast. So the strength with the press, and then the speed with those slams, just letting loose, bam. Always a lot of fun to throw stuff around. All right, I got a couple more for you. This next one comes courtesy of Travis Gullidge and Coley Stickles at Texas Fort Aquatics. It is a combination of hang cleans and muscle ups, which by themselves are difficult and very, very good for swimmers. You put them together and you've introduced a fatigue element that we have to deal with in swimming. Now, I will be honest with you. I can do a muscle up. I cannot do muscle ups for reps, especially coming right out of hang cleans. So if you're like me and you need a little bit of support, I got you covered. Oh yeah, that's right. You thought I was done with this little shtick, but it is gonna go on forever. Forever. Go get yourself one at fikeswim.com and please don't unsubscribe. But no, this combination, I love it. It is so difficult. You have so many benefits here. Like I said, the fatigue component, but full body, which is great because unlike a lot of movements where you might just be here, this is every joint and your whole body is working. It's working athletically, so it builds in athleticism, which we don't think about that enough as swimmers, but we have to be athletic, and it builds your pull strength. No matter which stroke you are, it builds your pull strength. Now, Travis, the guy I got this from, I used to work him underwater, just completely destroy him on pullouts. And ever since he went to TFA and started doing this kind of work, I dare say he might be better than me at pullouts now. We have to have a competition to find out. I don't know, but it's close. Okay, last one for you. This is a superset of plyometric push-up and dip, and it's good for a lot of the same reason as the other supersets. You're building athleticism, you're building your core. There's good development of power under fatigue. You hit the third, fourth rep of this, you still got a rep or two to go, and you feel it, kind of like the end of a race. And then you take that fatigue right into dips. Triceps are burning, freestylers, butterflies, backstrokers, you know what I'm talking about. At the end of those races, it burns, and breaststrokers to some extent too. Now, if that version of a plyo push-up is too difficult for you, here's an alternate, easier version that can get you started, and it has the benefit of being adjustable on the heights. All right, there you go. That's where I'm at right now. Time will tell if this is successful or not. You're just gonna have to stay tuned in. But please comment below if you've got ideas for great supersets. I would love to hear them. Like I said, I cherry pick and I love hearing new and great ideas. If you have questions, also post those. I'll try to answer them as best I can. Until next time, good luck with your swimming. Swim different.